So I sat down with Pit the Panda yet again, and before I get into it, let me say right now, I know some of you are mad at me because we said this was going to be a live stream, so you would have gotten to interact with both of us, ask us questions. Look, here's the thing. Whenever you actually start up YouTube and you click let's go live, it says you've never done this before. You have to wait 24 hours for us to enable live streaming on your account. So in the past, that has really only taken about 30 minutes for me and my other accounts to get live streaming going. However, this one time, that wasn't the case. So I apologize that we were not able to do a live stream on this video. Luckily for us, this time tomorrow, we'll be able to do live streams. Now, that doesn't mean there will be a live stream, but the next time we want to do a live stream, we can. So I apologize yet again. This one had to be a recorded video. Now, the video itself, Pit goes into explaining the heart game. And I'm really, really excited about it because I had no clue what was going on behind the scenes or what this heart game was all about. Beyond that, that conversation evolved a lot to talk about the actual game that he's been developing, Trash with Friends, and the protocol, the raindrop protocol that is actually going to drive the entire thing. A staggering amount of innovation and thought has gone into how this game is going to work, how the tokenomics are going to work, and you really want to pay attention if you are invested or thinking about investing in the Degeniverse, whether it's apes or trash pandas, because you will get some serious alpha about how this game is going to work. Now, that being said, nothing in this video is financial advice. You should always do your own research and do what's best for you in your situation, because investing in cryptocurrencies, NFTs, or really anything can be risky. This is just two friends sitting down to talk about things that they really care about. So, without further ado, I'm going to talk to Pit the Panda yet again about the new upcoming game and the one that's been going on for about a month now. Let's go. All right, so here we are sitting down with the Pit the Panda one more time. And very exciting today because what we are going to start off talking about is the first game. Now, if I'm understanding right, you're going to try and do a little something like every 30 days or so. Is that right?
That is the goal. I don't know if I'll pull it off. That is, like, right now I'm doing like a massive upload to try to pull off this Christmas thing before Christmas actually starts. And the Arweave uploader is giving me pain, and so I probably should have started earlier, but I'm still figuring things out.
Okay.
But yeah, the goal is that people will have something new, and we're going to explain what that is. Hopefully a few days before Christmas. I was honestly hoping to have it out today, but just shit happens. Yeah, let's talk it through. So the first game was really a simple one, and what I like about these games is that they're highly social and they have no moving parts really, because building moving parts takes time. And it also was good that I did it because spent most of the month working on Candy Machine.
Mm-hmm.
For people that don't know it, if you looked at your pandas, you'll notice that they have this new hidden trait. It's a heart emoticon, and it has a number 1 through 6. And you may have noticed that it changes every few days. And so that was the game. The game was not explained in any further detail than just that trait. There is a way to quote unquote win at the game, and there is a way quote unquote lose at the game, but none of that is explained. So the rules are just this: the way that you win the game is you literally do nothing.
Well, I did nothing.
Yeah. So all the hearts represent is I take the ages of the pandas in the wallet. So like if it moves out of the wallet for some reason, the tip timer resets. And then I make an array of those ages, and then I slice it up into 6 pieces. And Hearts 1 is the oldest, and Hearts 6 is the newest. And I specifically made Hearts 1 the best one to get, because I figured people would think 6 is better, but it's not. It's actually the worst. It's just a very simple algorithm, and basically it measures who is a long-term holder and who isn't. There are some edge cases, like if you're just moving it between your own wallets, but the thing is I can't detect if it's your own wallet, so I just assume you're selling it. Basically that was the way you won it. You just held it and did nothing. So I thought it was a really funny game because I figured people would just go insane trying to figure out what was going on and come up with all these conspiracy theories and make up all these complex stories about why it was doing what it was doing. But really what was happening was it was just measuring longevity. And because of the fact that the update was somewhat delayed relative to the action, so if you did something, it may not be reflected until a few days later, people would impute levels of importance to things that had no bearing on it. So it really made it tough to run good experiments as a user because you didn't know when I was going to run the update. And so it might lead you to false conclusions. So it was designed to like instill fear and panic and story building. And it did all of those things. So I'm quite happy with how it worked out.
Did anybody guess it at all or come even
Oh
close?
yeah, plenty of people guessed it, but everyone else shouted them down and called them idiots. I was actually sending these tweets that people like where people guessed it correctly to the team chat, and they were like, "Damn!" And then surprisingly, it still didn't quite leak out, even though the tweet was so on point. But sort of the beautiful part about this is that the people that weren't even paying attention win by default. The people that were paying attention kind of lost. So I guess now we get to the results. So the behavior I wanted to instill is holding. You could look at this as maybe instead of like the DGOD style punishment for not holding, I went the opposite way and decided to reward for holding. So the way this will work is we are using the token entangler. Monolith created 6 different new layers of outfit, 6 different new traits, and they're Christmas traits. That's what Tim and I have been posting. And I'm creating right now a complete, like, identical set of pandas, all the pandas that exist, like nearly 15,000 of them, 15,000 new tokens. Each one has a randomly selected outfit, and that outfit will be entangled with your original token. You'll be able to use the entangler UI that will launch to basically put on your Christmas outfit.
What?
And the Christmas outfit you get has obviously there some traits are rarer than others, and the higher your heart's number, the better the outfit you're likely to get. And so some common pandas that have certain attributes may become mythic overnight just by the fact that they were being held for a long time and they got a really unique combination that sort of goes well with their other attributes. So like if they got the Santa hat and Santa costume, and maybe they're a red panda, or they have some other cool thing that makes it look good, like a cigar, that common panda now has a very cool secondary outfit. The other thing I will mention is that to use this entangler, we needed to sort of, I just made 15,000 tokens. It cost money. You will have to pay a one-time fee of half a soul to, get the outfit. It's totally optional. You don't have to get the outfit. And when you sell the panda, that outfit goes with the panda. So the panda now permanently has this alternate skin forever.
Oh, okay. So wait, and pause. Let's say I have, just to clarify for the people who are listening, it's a half a soul per panda, right? If I have 12
per panda, and you'll be able to see what the outfit was. So for instance, there are some pandas that, because of the randomness and because of how much they were moved around, a few of them literally don't have Christmas outfits. Their alternate outfit is their same outfit, and you can see that the alternate outfit does have a new trait though called naughty true or naughty false. And if naughty is true, that means you got no outfit.
Gotcha.
And so you can see that before you switch, and obviously decide not to switch if you don't want to switch, right?
Right.
And not pay, but the half a soul will help fund some of our later efforts. So I hope that people are willing to buy in, and I hope that they feel like the value they're getting out of this is worth that.
It should be absolutely worth that, because that is, like you said, it is tied, entangled with the original NFT. So the next buyer would have, it would actually be like having 2 NFTs.
It is. They can actually, like, SOLANA will probably create a whole new section on the website just for the Christmas pandas. And if you buy and sell the Christmas pandas there, you automatically get the other panda when you swap, except you don't have to pay a second time. The first person pays, and it basically goes to us, and we use it to fund further development efforts. I'm assuming a conversion rate of maybe 15%, and I'm hoping that it recoups the 100 soul or so that it costs to do this. And yeah, it's a cool idea. And here's the other thing I wanted to mention is that I decided that for rug holders, uh, if you have 3 or more rugs, like between 3 and 6 rugs, doesn't matter what colors, you got a free level bump. So if you were level 5, you got to go to level 4. If you have a complete set, you get to go up 2 levels.
Hey.
If you had a 3, 1, and this applies to all pandas that are in the wallet containing the rugs. So it's not like one set per panda. It's like if you have a complete set, all your pandas go up 2 levels.
Gotcha.
So this was done to sort of reward those people that didn't throw away my gifts. And yeah.
So I didn't do anything with my pandas because I was scared to, and I have a full rug set. So I'm probably in pretty good shape.
Probably. So if you had 3 or less, you were automatically bumped to 1 for all of the pandas in your wallet, which means that you have the best chances of getting stuff. Cool. And I'll publish the probabilities, in a Twitter post after this. But yeah, I wanted to, like when I drop things on people, they should keep them. And I will find ways to bring them into the later games.
I think that's a big phrase that people who are listening should pay attention to. When I drop things on people, they should keep them. Because there's a reward for doing it, right? It's a
gift.
It's a gift.
I liked you, so I gave it to you. You sold it.
No, I want to dwell on the technology for a second that made this happen. I'm hearing this game. There's a heart mechanic. You're decreasing the number of hearts over time based on the length held. There's going to be this entangling mechanic.
I'm gonna publish this entire branch to GitHub. So it's just a giant CLI that I wrote, similar to the Candy Machine CLI. It just pulls data, generates new metadata, pushes it to Arweave, and then updates the thing. It's a series of commands, and then also I'm pushing the commands for generating the new collection. So I'm going to push it all now that it's out there, and once I'm done with it, so people can learn from it and try their own thing with their own collections. But yeah, it's not the game itself. The game itself, I finally got to start developing again today. It's I pushed a few commits. It's in the Raindrops repository. That's the main gaming protocol. It doesn't use this at all. This is fully offline. The Raindrops protocol is a new ledger system for games that lives on top of the existing ledger system that is token metadata. It's a way of accounting. What is an item? What is a player? What are their stats? What can they do? That system needs to exist for games to exist on Solana, and it needs to be a uniform standard in order for people like Phantom to adopt it. And it's being built by Metaplex, or it's being built in concordance with Metaplex. So it will probably be the adopted standard once it's finished. At least that's
this keeps going back to one of our original talks, our original thesis about why the Degeniverse is so incredibly special. And that's because technological innovations for Solana come out of it. And I'm hearing about this game that you've got going on with the hearts. We've got entangling, which I think was something that really came out of Exiled Apes, right?
Yeah. It was built by Jordan as a favor for the Exiled Apes, but we are reusing it for costumes.
Gotcha. And this is stuff that I haven't seen in really any other ecosystem. Now you've got Raindrops Protocol, which is exactly what you just described it as. This entirely new protocol for tracking different statistics or metadata about different classes of characters or items within a game. And this doesn't exist right now.
It kind of exists in very specific custom forms by different companies, but I want to build one that is generic enough to be used across any game, so that games can sort of import assets that they choose to import and get information about them. And so if an item can be used in 5 different ways, you could choose to import 3 of those ways into your game, and it's all stored on chain. Or if you're using a Merkle root, the parts of it are stored on chain, but they're verifiable. It's verifiable that the state on chain is equivalent to some state off chain. But yeah, I have to build all of that before I can even start building the Pandas game, because I want the Pandas game to really serve as just a code example of how this protocol works. Ultimately, Trash Pandas is a vehicle by which this protocol will get shipped. That's the ultimate goal, is to ship a new protocol that changes the ecosystem. The Trash Panda's like sub ecosystem actually is meant to be an example.
And knowing what we know about the game so far, which is pretty limited, you've got a create to earn economy as part of this.
Yeah. So part of what you can do is you can sort of charge. So the plan is with these map tiles is that they're going to be items, and the layer, the game that lives on top will define these items that live in the raindrops protocol underneath, but it will also define sort of a traversal rate and a traversal cost. So as you explore, you spend Panda tokens, and those Panda tokens that get spent actually go to the people who made the map, right? So you can design a full map, and the map doesn't even necessarily have to like how you implement the map. It could be something, it could just be tokens in your wallet, or you could have a nice UI viewer where you actually take all the NFTs that the person can see and all the NFTs they can't, and you display them in a fun way. Either way, you're making money when they explore and when they scavenge. And the way that they earn Panda tokens is they basically get a limited edition of a map tile. So a map tile is a master edition that can spin off copies of itself when you explore it enough. And once they have that limited edition in their wallet, they can then do this staking-like mechanic where they start scavenging trash, and the trash builds up. And as they build up trash, they can do a roll on it, and the roll will either yield, an item or some more Panda token. And so, like the idea is that there's like this give and take. You scavenge on your own tiles to make Panda token, and then you explore and spend Panda token in other places. And so you're constantly, using and spending. And no matter what you're doing, the person who made the map is making money. And all of this will live on top of the Raindrops protocol, with the pandas being considered players. The apes will be considered items because they're static. The player item separation is done by the Raindrops protocol. When you do things like enter a building and do a roll, or you do a roll on your pile of trash, you're going to enter what's called a match, which is another part of the Raindrops protocol where multiple NFTs enter an escrow, and then there's some oracle that is talking to the escrow and tells the escrow what the result of that event was. So in our case, it'll probably just be a random D&D style dice roll that is the oracle that determines, whether or not your panda dies or gets locked in a jail cell for 3 days, or you get tokens back. I'm just making up scenarios, or if you win something and you get something. So the game items into the match, you'll put some items into the match, you both agree on what the potential loss scenarios are, and then a roll happens. But this is designed to be an example for other gaming systems to use, where they kind of have this match framework where they can put in players or items, and they can build oracles against it that have it resolved one way or another. So you could, for instance, with like CSGO, bet a skin, and someone else bets another skin, and then the oracle is the CSGO server pumping the results of the match in. So
I'm not. You don't have to answer this, but I'm just daydreaming here because I've played enough video games in my time to know that with great risk comes great reward. So if I'm willing to bet my NFT's life, there must be a significant reward on the other side for it, but also a high risk of losing my NFT.
Yes, and that'll be dictated by the map builder. So we'll be building the first map. And the map building is actually not Raindrops. That's going to be the Trash Panda game on top. So that'll be it'll be open source, but it's going to be maintained by the Trash Panda team as opposed to Metaplex or
but
Solana.
Raindrops has to be flexible enough to allow a custom creation to ride on top of it.
So it'll be existing on top of Raindrops as another protocol for map building. The map builder will get to say, like, I'm designing this building. There's this really cool item in it. You have to be willing to accept the consequences, which are either unknown or known, and they're this bad to enter. And then you agree to enter, you sign that transaction, your NFT goes in there. The other thing that the Raindrops protocol has built in is the concept of a backpack. Like, NFTs will have their own tokens and hold them, so you can equip them, or they can just be in their inventory. And these standards will hopefully be adopted by Phantom. And that is sort of also required for this maps game to work, the scavenging game.
I'm thinking, and again, not financial advice to anybody watching this, but I'm thinking, like, in order to get the highest possible reward, I'm going to have to be willing to burn through a lot of trash pandas. So I'm like, do I have enough trash pandas in my inventory right now to achieve the maximum reward, the maximum level? And I don't think I do.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting, and then we're also probably going to allow for different death mechanics in the raindrops protocol. Like you can either keep the token in the escrow and it'll get shipped back to I don't know the game creator, like whoever's the owner of the map, or it will actually get burned, which maybe we just disable for trash pandas, but it should be allowed for other games. But yeah, there's a lot here, and ultimately, like the reason that I started the trash pandas was because I wanted to create this gaming protocol that would change Solana again. And the trash pandas are basically my test bed for it. Like everything that I build there gets tested with the trash pandas first. And so you could sort of look like I mean, hell, you've already seen it. Trash pandas is the reason that Candy Machine V2 exists.
Yeah, so how many times are you going to change Solana, dude?
I don't know, but every time I do it, I'm going to test it on the pandas first. They all get everything first. They're basically my lab, which is why it's a little crazier, and why I say that they're a slightly different product from the apes. The apes are static works of art that will never change. The pandas are meant to have the battle scars of playing with Pit the Panda. They're meant to grow over time, and I don't know how it will turn out. Right? Like I am trying to serve a higher purpose here. And if you believe in that higher purpose, and you want to, this is how you do it.
I do. I believe in the higher purpose. I think this is fantastic. So a little bit, I want to circle back to Candy Machine V2 a little bit. You've reopened the mint. How do you think things are going? And a very important question that we actually got from someone on Twitter in the audience was, is there any incentive to not mint right now? What if I held for eternity?
You could. The only thing I will mention is that I would appreciate it if you guys could mint above 15,000, because we can't give to charity until the 15,000 point is reached, and we're able to unlock the remainder of the mint. Due to the very, very harsh anti-rug policy I set. So I would ask that in the name of charity that some of you mint some of your tokens just to get us over that edge. But beyond that, it's up to you. I mean, I will say this: the pandas that were not minted as of 3 days ago aren't getting any Christmas costumes. They'll never have them unless we do another Christmas thing next year, which probably we will, but who knows? Maybe I'll come up with something else. But so if your panda doesn't exist, it doesn't get to participate. It's not a static piece of art. It misses out on things, right? So there is that. But that being said, now those panda tokens are truly unopened presents. You don't know what's inside them because of the randomness. So it's exciting to have that opportunity to mint something fresh. I don't expect we'll ever mint them all. I expect they'll probably end up somewhere around 16,000, and it will just peter off, and there will always be there. And I'm totally okay with that. I wanted that, actually. It I don't know, it adds another level of interesting play to the universe that other mints don't have.
Your knowledge, has the botting at least slowed down or stopped?
I mean, I haven't seen any evidence of bots, and Saint Eclectic is, looking all the time. But I don't think presently I have not figured out an exploit that can beat this bot. I know that there are people who have decided to work on it. And I'm not a fan of those people, but if they do discover a bot exploit, I will come down on them like holy hellfire. And I will change it again. The thing is with this sort of stuff is it's always spy versus spy, and for the moment we have the upper hand, and I'm not so foolhardy to think that someone couldn't come up with something. The thing is, these people are smarter than me, so I have to wait for them to figure out the trick. It's much easier to stop the trick than to figure out the trick in the first place.
So if you're listening and you're a botter, we would encourage you to either do the right thing and let us know what you found, or if you are a good botter, we would encourage you to try to break it and report it before the bad botters figure it out.
Yeah, and if you do figure it out, don't spread it, and then I can have a chance to, try to close whatever loophole is there. But presently, I think it's going to be much more difficult, because if you have the capture turned on, at the very least, you are sort of limited to moving at the speed of a human.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondarily, we use recent block hash, which it is reasonably random enough. But the more important thing is that you can't use any other instruction in the transaction besides one from the associated token program, the token program, or the system program. So you can't stick an instruction in there from one of your own programs that looks at the recent block hash and figures out if it yields a mint that you like or not. You have to somehow cleverly use one of the existing commands on one of these contracts that exist to kill or not kill based on the block hash. And I can't think of a way around that right now. So I think it's pretty solid, and I think we'll probably have safety for at least another month or two, which is an eon in crypto. And all I can say is we'll remain vigilant. Just have to keep trying to just get better over time.
Will a month or two give you enough time to finish up Raindrops, or at least get it in a working place?
That's the hope, right? Like the original Metaplex took 6 weeks. It was a very concentrated 6 weeks, but Raindrops is actually a bit more complex in some ways. And then the thing is, I'm trying to get just Raindrops in the game done in a command line sense in like a month and a half, and then not even thinking about the UI design yet. That's a whole different thing that will involve a whole different set of like stuff, right? But I'm going to try to release the back end first, because then anyone can build against it. Then we can start working on the front end. The fact is, it's just me building it, so it is a little limiting. We don't have really enough money, thanks to the mint, to hire anyone else, but we do the best we can.
Yeah, it's impressive nonetheless. So I want to take a look at some of the other questions that we have. Here's a really good one. Is your wife still mad at the Degen Trash Pandas not buying you a house?
Yes.
Okay.
She's still very upset. Yeah. It's I probably shouldn't have sold it to her as that, but I was pretty confident that the system would work the way it was designed. But before every pride goeth before the fall. So.
Yeah. Did you publish Candy Machine version 2 to GitHub?
I did not, but the Metaplex Foundation does have it available on their repo. So that's where the code is. But I didn't publish it. It was published by someone else.
As long as it was published, I think was the real question. Where's the GitHub?
It's just inside. It's in the same place the old Candy Machine was.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, this is a good question. Do you know if there is currently or intended to be any sort of in-house rivalry within the Degeniverse? Any ambition or motivation for Pit to try and make DTP as successful or even more successful than the apes?
I mean, if there is a rivalry, it will be playful and planned, because that's sort of the brand. As for like an actual, real, honest to God hard rivalry, probably not. I mean, we're all pretty closely knit. I mean, like they're a separate organization, but Monolith and I are great friends. And I don't personally have any, like, I hold apes, as does anyone else. I like, I would be hurting my own bags to try to somehow differentiate them. So yeah, I'm just not. I see the Degeniverse is the brand, not DTP or DAA. They're just sub products to me. They're product lines, right? What I am interested in is making the whole brand successful. And if one of them becomes less successful, then the whole brand is less successful. So, it's not something I'm thinking about.
Yeah, and I mean, I can kind of second that question a little bit, or what you're saying there is, if the Trash Pandas, so the ape floor right now is like the upper 30s. If the Trash Pandas floor was upper 30s, I would love that. Like I would not be upset at all. So
yeah, I think that we have, as the Trash Pandas, I'm not sure, like the market is accurate pretty much all the time, except unless they're bidding small. But in this case, like the market's accurate. I think the Trash Pandas are accurately priced for what we've done so far, right? Like the first mint was a fuck up. There's a large swath of people that hate my guts, and what we're doing is very different than a normal style of mint. So I think that the price that they're given relative to the apes is actually a pretty accurate market pricing. I think in order for us to get to 30, we have to deliver more on on the promises we've made and put some distance behind us in the terrible mint. So I'm not it's like I wish the floor were higher, but also I don't really care that much because when the floor is low, it gives people the ability to buy in if they believe in it. And I'm kind of more interested in just getting people in the door at the moment than I am in having a high floor. Like I think right now, last time I checked, the number of unique wallets for the pandas was like 4,500, which is actually pretty wide for a 10K drop. And this thing's still kind of around a 10K drop. So ideally, it would be nice.
That is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, I have to check. I have to run the command again, but it would be ideal if the average number of pandas held was 2. Like that would be great. And I think the real product behind these mints, someone said it on Twitter, is a really good point. The real product people don't realize is actually the Discord itself. And I think a quiet Discord kills a project, and I think nothing kills a Discord faster than not having enough people in it. So yeah, that's kind of a bigger interest to me right now. I mean, you can kind of look at it with the Degen DAO too. Our goal is to make the Degen DAO bigger, and if you have 10,000 new participants, I think it'll be a much better experience for everyone.
Yeah, and I mean, the Degen DAO, that Discord has already been popping off. It's only been alive for like 3 weeks, 1 month at this point. It's got over 4,000 members. Remember, to you trash pandas, you are allowed in the Degen DAO, including the main chat channel, as well as many of the other initiative channels. So if you're an ape holder or a trash panda holder, you really, really ought to join the Degen DAO Discord. It is a really fantastic community that is extremely active and extremely mobilized. You see it every single week with Create. You do. I haven't seen anything like it.
Yep, totally agree. It's a special place, and part of me has been thinking that we should just combine all 3 Discords just to like help with the. I mean, I feel like if you're new and you come into the Degen Panda Discord, you have no idea these other Discords exist or why they exist. So part of me has been toying with the idea of just combining all the Discords into one, but I don't know.
I will never go to the Degen Trash Panda or the Degen Ape Discord again. Now that I'm in the DAO, I just won't. Just being honest. So
yeah, I agree. So like, I think like I hang out in the Degen Trash Panda Discord because it's mine, but I think that just combining them all is the easiest thing. So take that as a wish to my moderators. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I think that concentration of social forces makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then I guess I should explain, I have this idea for next month's game, which may take me a little bit of time to build. I want to do something along the lines of game theory. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do probably is I'm going to airdrop some stuff, probably to everyone. And I thought of this last night while falling asleep, and it's basically going to be like if in 30 days or 20 days rather, I will measure the sort of how many people have burned that NFT, right? Or so the idea is like I'm going to airdrop, let's say 15,000 of these fucking orbs or whatever. Like I don't know what the object will be, or maybe it's different objects. I don't know. If it's a what do you call it? What is it called? The prisoner's dilemma. Mm-hmm. So if fewer than 50% of the population burn their orbs, then the thieves that defected by burning their orbs will get some reward and no one else will, right? Or if it's between like, I don't know, let's say 50 and 10%. So if more than 10% of people burn, but fewer than 50% of people burn, then the people that burned get some reward. If it's 10, if like overall fewer than 10% of people burned, that means that overall everyone agreed to collude. Then all the people that colluded kept the orbs. They get some reward, and the people that burn them get nothing. And then if more than 50% burn, then no one gets anything because too many people stole. So something like that, where essentially I'm going to create a massive game theory. Normally, the prisoner's dilemma is there's two prisoners, and they're both in these cells, and if they both defect, they get nothing. And if one of them defects and the other doesn't, the one who defects gets something. And if they both collude, they both get something, but the something's greater than if one of them defects, right? And it's a classic game theory problem, and I wanted to create it for 15,000 people. And so, like, how do you do that? The answer is you give them the chance to defect via burning, and then you just choose sort of percentage ranges where the different parts of the game theory square happen. And then the reward will be something will happen to your panda, right? Like similar to what I did with the Christmas things, or maybe you get some reward. That is the goal. I'm still sort of working out the mechanics of it, but this game will be a game that has rules, obviously. Like
and you did say you modeled yourself after the Joker, and I'm reminded of The Dark Knight when, at the very end, they had the prisoners on one boat,
yes,
and the regular people on the other, holding the detonator for the other boat.
That is exactly what I'm trying to create. And then also there, this is going to be special because there'll be a secondary market for these things, these whatever these objects are, and so people can buy them and hoard them in order to keep other people from burning them. So you really have the option of either burning or selling.
But if you sell it, you get no reward.
That's the thing. I haven't decided yet who's going to get. I guess So if the total population, I think, agrees to collude and you sold yours, then you'll get a reward because everyone won.
Or we all list and HFP buys it all.
Yes.
And then
but if you were a defector, yes. I haven't worked out the full mechanics of it. That's sort of what I'm thinking is next month's game, and I think it would be fun because now you have this massive like social game where people can decide to defect or not. And there's like a much greater reward in store if you decide not to defect versus defect. And like either everyone's going to defect immediately and just ruin the game, but then they'll all get nothing. Or I'm hoping that it'll happen somewhere in the middle because if too many people defect, then no one gets anything and it's ruined. But I'm very interested to see how the bid small movement can handle this kind of situation. It's my personal revenge.
That is fascinating. I can't wait for that. I know I would be a holder till the bitter end, but I don't know if everybody else has that. I don't know that je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm very interested to see what you people do, and that'll be probably January's game, and maybe it might go into February. I don't know. It depends on how successful it is at riling people up. I tend to measure my success in getting people upset. So we'll see.
I already can think about who would be the burners too. Who would be the people who defect?
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to call them out, but I'll jump in Mint Squad and tell them because they know who they are.
Yeah, they're going to all defect. Yeah. The good news is for the whales that want to defect, they're going to have to write a loop or something because they're going to have to burn 300 NFTs. But yeah, it's going to be fun. And I might even make it because we need to raise funds. I might even make it like a candy machine where you can mint them, and so it's sort of like an opt-in scenario where you can buy and be part of the game for a really low price, like 0.1, and then that's how you get your orb versus an airdrop. I haven't decided yet. It might be better that way.
Yeah, because you could raise money that way, or you could spend money the other way.
Yeah, you can raise money that way, but also then it means that the only people interacting with the game are active. They have to buy into it, and once they're in it, then they're part of the population that wins or loses, right? Anyone who's not interacting with it gets nothing either way, right? I think that might be more interesting because then the only people doing it are the people that want to play the game versus everyone doing it, which you might just have so few burners or so few people who even realize it's there that you don't get any significant statistical effect, even when there's lots of burning because only 10% of people are going to aware that the game's going on. So I'll probably do a quick canning machine that just mints these things, and it'll have a maximum. It'll have a maximum number of let's just say 1,500 to 2,000 players, and And that'll make things interesting.
Well, I'm gonna call Nana Trades as soon as we're done here, and because she's a trash panda holder, and we're gonna have to get Nana on board for holding. We don't want my mom to burn her NFTs.
Yeah, yeah. We'll see how it goes. I had to talk to Monolith about art, actually. Because I just came up with the idea. But he's quick at rolling stuff out. But anyway, that's all I've got.
Okay. Well, that's amazing, man. Thank you for this update, and thank you again for all the hard work that you've done so far. I have seen people on Twitter genuinely pleased with the fact that they were able to mint something that was ultra rare or mythic without fear of it getting sniped from them. So it's really cool to see that Candy Machine V2 is working.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of the biggest sign, right? Is like the Dark Forest will eat what it can if it can, and it can't seem to eat the mythics off of this Candy Machine. What is a miracle to me, a fucking miracle, is that people are still launching Candy Machine V1s, like almost to the point that I'm thinking maybe breaking that contract may be in order. But like people, I mean, that's the thing is like there's like a whole, gradient of competency among the people running these drops, right? And I suspect the people that are of a very low competent nature are just sticking with what they know with Candy Machine V1 and just recommending to these unsuspecting drop companies that like, oh, CMV2, it's too new, it's too untested, blah, blah, blah. Go with this. But it's mainly because they're lazy. I mean, CMV1, it was never audited. It was just launched to the world. No one's ever audited it. It's worked since then, and no one fucking cares. So there's really no excuse to not move except that you're lazy. So it pains me to see, like, because one of the most major mints on Solana, DTP, is now running on it, and it's got no problems, that there are still mints being gypped like this. Like, I think Danger Valley was one such one I heard about on our Discord the other day. They got botted to hell, in the same way that DTP did, and they had all the information that we didn't have.
They actually, people who were whitelisted didn't get to actually mint.
Yeah,
it stole the whitelist mints.
Yeah, they fucked themselves. And the new system has whitelisting built in. You can even give the whitelisters a discount. You can even let them pre-mint before the thing goes live. Like, wow. All that shit's in there, and people need to start using it, or else their customers are gonna pay for it.
So is it like, and asking from, because I have not worked with Candy Machine V1 yet. Let's pretend I had. How hard would it be for me to learn Candy Machine V2? Is there any resource?
Actually easier. There's one fewer command. With the older Candy Machine, you had to first create a configuration and upload to it, and then you made a Candy Machine. Now it's just one thing. You just create a Candy Machine with the upload command. Like, you upload your images, and the act of uploading creates the Candy Machine. And you're pretty much ready to go after that. And so it's just, it is absurd to me why people would not use it. I got why people didn't want to use Fair Launch, because like it is more complex to use and a different system. The Candy Machine is just straight up, like, the V2 is just straight up better in every way. Every conceivable way, it's better.
So Candy Machine is tied very closely with Arweave, right? The upload is to Arweave?
No, so the uploader supports IPFS and AWS, because occasionally Arweave does have issues, and if you don't feel like dealing with those issues and you're okay with paying monthly to host your data, then you can use those other systems. You should just be aware of the fact that people may be upset with you because it's essentially impermanent storage.
Gotcha.
I know you're fucked.
I know it's really exciting that Genesis Go is actually building on-chain storage, launching in like 3 weeks or something with their Shadow protocol. Their big thesis there was that the servers that are required to run Arweave and Filecoin are not like, those are like basically copy and paste a server. You go to the hosting and say, I want to spin up a Filecoin server, and then they copy and paste it. Those servers don't work on Solana because Solana's throughput is simply too high. The requirements to actually do on-chain storage with the Solana blockchain, like, there's just this big disconnect between current storage solutions and Solana. The compute of Solana and RPC and validator of Solana is faster than the I/O. So Genesis Go is launching Shadow protocol with on-chain storage in like 3 or 4 weeks. It seems like there's a
storage, like they're storing it on Solana itself.
So that's a good question. I don't know. I think so. I think that's the idea here. And to me, it sounds like there is a humongous opportunity for Candy Machine to work like hand in
Yeah,
hand.
I mean, it'll probably get built in. I just would hesitate to use. I mean, like, talk about expensive storage, right? Like,
Yeah, no, it's expensive. So I'm in their like their private group right now talking about the building of the servers. There's going to be, I think the requirement is something like at no less than 4 terabytes of NVMe per node, 512 gigs of RAM, and like Threadripper, like massive Threadripper CPUs.
the servers themselves, that's going to suck. I mean, if it's using like traditional Solana accounts, a 10 megabyte account is pretty expensive. It can be like 40 SOL or something, right? And let's remember that a file is about like one of the trash pandas is like 2 megabytes, right? So I don't. Solana is not meant for file storage. I'm not sure that it can be used for file storage effectively. It just kind of need a different system for that. Like the real problem is that with Solana, it's kind of designed to have all accounts in memory at once, like with an 001 lookup hash. And if the account is this giant set of bytes behind it, it takes up a lot of memory on a validator, and so it's very expensive, right? Whereas with the way that Arweave is working, at least from my understanding, is it's sort of like a read through. So like there is some caching, like there's like a CDN type cache layer at the gateway level, but if you hit a link that hasn't been cached with a gateway, it actually goes to a hard drive somewhere and reads that shit and then puts it into the cache. It's a very different model, but it allows you to store things much more cheaply than trying to use fucking memory on a validator. And I'm worried.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I misspoke then. No, this is using storage to actually, like physical storage, drives, and caching in order to do it. It's just going to be integrated with the Solana blockchain. It's not actually storing files on the blockchain.
So it's going to be it's going to be like a contract that dumps data into some like account that's watched by a Web2 worker that then takes the account data and dumps it into their new chain. Is that the idea?
Couldn't tell you on that one. I know that it's designed to work at the speed of Solana. That's the big issue, is that the file storage that they have identified as an issue with Arweave and Filecoin is simply not going to be able to get up to Solana's throughput.
I am ambivalent on the. I guess I need to know more, but based on what I've heard, I would be a little bit ambivalent to endorse such a thing. But
Okay.
we'll see. I suspect there's more to it. But it seems unlikely to me that Genesis Go could in 3 weeks or even in a month replicate what it took years for the Arweave team to produce.
I'm sure they've been working on it for a long time. It wasn't just a new idea they had.
For 3 months. So, for 2 months.
So what I need to do is I need to get them on my show. And
yeah, I mean, like the thing is, I honestly don't know anything about it, but like whenever some team comes to me and says we're going to rebuild X and X was built by another team over a period of 2 years, I am always a little doubtful, especially when you have to remember Genesis Go's specialty is in hardware and running nodes. There's a whole software angle to this, and as far as I know, like they don't have any major software products out there right now. Like I can't think of a single protocol that Genesis Go has invented that has like $1 billion TVL on it, right? So unless they've done a whole crap ton of hiring of Rust developers, which they may have, recently, like I am worried. I would be afraid to use this, and I don't know if they'll be able to deliver, but it could also be that I'm just misunderstanding what they're doing.
No, it could actually be that I'm misunderstanding.
Oh yeah,
let's be fair.
We're playing a game of telephone. That being said, Genesis Go runs excellent. Like the job they do is they do an excellent job of. Just this is like quite a departure from their core competency, which is running servers. Like they're literally trying to become a different business here, which you have to wonder is that a good idea to invest that much capital into? But we'll see. We will see how it plays out.
From what I can tell, the goal is to still run servers, but now these servers are fast enough to handle I/O and storage throughput at the speed of Solana. That's my take.
Yeah, I don't understand what the speed of Solana means in this context, right? Because you're not normally you're not really reading files when you're doing Solana transactions. That happens with the browser layer, right? Like You only care about how fast the file comes down when you open your Phantom. And I agree, it comes down slowly with RWAIT because there's no CDN. But that's not really Solana speeds, right? Because Solana is not reading these files. Now, what would be interesting, and this is just a general thing, it would be lovely to be able to do a GET request from a Rust program. Currently, there's no way to do it. The way that I think Solana is tentatively planning to maybe do it is you basically make a request to an Oracle, like a CPI call, and you give it a callback in the contract, and you tell it what URL you want, and then it dumps the results of the URL into an account, and then hits your callback later with the account so that you can read it. And so it's like an asynchronous call using a Rust contract, and that is a pretty cool concept. And that would be useful, like being able, I don't care about how fast these files come in, I just care about being able to say, hey, I need this, and then in a disjointed way, because it has to be asynchronous, get the information. I mean, maybe they're building something like that, but that as a Rust developer would be truly useful.
Interesting take.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting stuff. I didn't know they were doing anything like that.
Oh yeah. Well,
is that me?
That's you.
Oh, your find your phone ring activated. Tile is just freaking out. Anyway.
All right, yeah.
I don't know why it's doing this.
I'm not going to edit that. I'm leaving that in.
I know. I'm like trying to find the Tile app because I haven't used it in like 3 years. Fuck you, Tile. Tile, you piece of shit. What? Oh my god. Stop. It's just not stopping.
It's not stopping.
Okay, there we go.
So, is there anything else you want to wrap up with before we bail out of here?
Nothing really. Just happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Have a good time. I'm hoping to get these outfits out to you very shortly.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me yet again and giving us this incredible insight into not only what's going on with this mini game, but the entire ecosystem of Solana and all the development that you're putting into the Degeniverse. It is phenomenal. And again, I know a lot of people hate you, but I appreciate you. I hope people listening start to tear down these walls a little bit and really recognize how much work is going into this. So thank you again for joining.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. This was fun. We'll do it again.
Yes, anytime. All right. See y'all later.